Not too long ago I made an episode about the lightest stove on the market, the BRS 3000T. And in that episode I said that there were no real comparison or alternative to that stove. Well, I was wrong. So today we will take a look at the Naturehike Outdoor Mini Burner that probably could be one of the most budget-friendly, lightweight, top-mounted stove out there and without all the downsides of the BRS stove. So stay tuned. Hi and welcome to a new episode, and if you're new to this channel is all about hiking, gear reviews, tips and tricks and backpacking thoughts. And if that is something you like, please don't forget to subscribe to support this channel. Today a lot of hikers and especially ultralight hikers go for a more simple setup on their kitchen, like a pot and a top-mounted gas stove, and it can't be much simpler than that. Compared to a more traditional setup, you save both weight and space in your backpack, but it also limits the type of food you can cook and eat. One of the most popular and best performing stoves out there, it's a Soto Windmaster, and I have to agree, it is the king of all stoves, but it is also expensive. And if you then want to add a Triflex stand to go even lighter and also add a titanium pot on top of that, like this, the Evernew, well, then you have to pay like 1,600 Swedish crowns or about $150 on Amazon. Now, there is no real reason to pay that much, especially if you're new to hiking and just getting started, but you can get away with much less. And that's where this little stove comes in. Flies. So now let's take a closer look at the Naturehike Outdoor Mini Burner, a lightweight, extremely small and budget-friendly option. This small burner from Naturehike is made of stainless steel and copper and weighs in at 40 grams and is an all-in-one burner where the feet are attached to the body. The regulator is a needle valve, so a simple but yet effective solution used by many brands. The circumference of the feet is 8 centimeters, so it will fit the smaller pots better, and I paid 129 Swedish crowns for this stove. Well, there's not many features to talk about on a stove like this, but I like the fact that it is all in one piece, so no parts can go missing, and it also folds down small enough to fit inside my Evernew pot together with a 100-gram canister and a mini bic. Now let's take the stove and put it on the canister and see how it looks. Always tricky when doing this on camera, right? Okie dokie then. Looking good. Now there's no igniter on this one, so I have to use my mini bic to ignite it, but let's try it out and see how it works. The flame is pretty well focused in the middle and looks really strong, so maybe it will manage the wind somewhat better than the BRS.
We'll see.
One positive thing is that the regulator really works and you can control the flame pretty good. And not like the BRS when you have more or less a all or nothing situation. If we then continue to compare to the BRS, the Mini Burner is slightly higher, both in length and the distance between the burner head and the pot. And now over to the more interesting part, how much fuel it consumes, both in indoor conditions like with no wind and room temperature, but also outside in a situation where you normally use it. For the test inside, I did it before this episode, and compared to my other stoves, the BRS 3000T and the Soto Amicus, it was a slight difference. My other stoves consumes 6 grams of fuel to boil 400 milliliters of water, which is about 2 cups. And the Mini Burner used only 5 grams and it took about 4 minutes. For the more interesting part and the performance outside, I did it just yesterday and there was a bit of wind but not much, and I had to increase the output to get a focused flame, resulting in about the same boiling time but a higher fuel consumption. The boiling time remained at 4 minutes, but the fuel consumption increased to 9 grams per boil. Just to be sure, I repeated the test 3 times and I let the pot and the stove to cool down in between, and the water was just cold tap water, but the result remained the same. The same day, in the same conditions, the BRS consumed 9 and the Amicus 8 grams, just to get an idea if the result was good or bad. The Naturehike Outdoor Mini Burner as an alternative to the BRS and as an ultralight stove, yeah, I believe it's a contender for 3 reasons. Number 1, it is made out of stainless steel and not titanium, and slightly thicker feet. So the main downside of the BRS that the feet melts, well, that is probably not going to happen with the mini stove. Number 2 is that it is slightly taller than the BRS, and if using a windscreen, that means that the heat will not transfer as easy down to the gas canister with the risk of overheating. Number 3 and last reason is that the regulator actually works, and you can easily control the flame and therefore also use it for cooking. But of course, this also comes with a weight penalty of 15 grams. If it's worth it, it is up to you. The main downside is that it will perform poorly in windy conditions. So if you're doing any hikes above tree line, or if you don't like bringing a windscreen, well, then you are probably better off using something else like the Soto Windmaster or the Amicus. Beside that, I believe this to be a really good budget option, and together with a cheap aluminum pot you can probably get away with 200 to 300 Swedish crowns or about $20 to $30, and that I believe to be a bargain. Now, what do you think about the outdoor mini burner after seeing this video? Do you have one? Do you want one? And do you think it's an alternative to the BRS? Leave a comment. But for now, this is it, and thanks so much for watching. If you liked today's episode, take a look at these 2 recommendations on my other videos. Also do hit like, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any future content. Hope to see you again next week, but now, safe hiking and bye-bye.